In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Princess Leia Organa and her Boushh disguise for the Vintage Collection, and she is VC 134. So for the most part, she is just a re-release or a repaint of the Black Series 3 3/4" Boushh Leia from about 4 years previously. I think she was one of the last action figures in the Black Series line for the TIE Fighter packaging. And that is this action figure right here. We'll compare the face paint here in a little bit. But this particular Boushh Leia was actually very groundbreaking for the time, because if I recall correctly, she is the very first TVC action figure to feature the face printing tech. And in this case, I think it was a vast improvement for her. The last few waves of the Black Series line unfortunately had some really bad paint apps. I'm thinking back to like Commander Thorn and Commander Doom, Boushh Leia, a few other ones as well, and it seemed like the quality control was, for the most part, pretty poor for most of them, which is unfortunate. So it was nice for Leia here to get a major upgrade, and such a groundbreaking one at that. So I think the likeness is definitely there. I do recall people being kind of skeptical of the face printing. While most agree that it was a vast upgrade for Leia, a lot of people complain about the graininess if you look at the action figure real close. But definitely for a lot of these initial face printing tech action figures, the closer you look at it, the more grainy it would look. But if you look at it from afar, you don't really notice it at all. It looks perfect. So I did win this Leia loose in an auction on eBay back in 2019 when she was released. I forget how much I paid for her specifically, but I know it wasn't above retail even. In fact, it may have been less than $10. Still during that era where TVC 2.0 was trying to gain some ground, gain some traction, and releases were still few and far in between. I think she was part of the same wave as like Klaatu, maybe Yak Face, and then the Scarif Stormtrooper as well. I think the sculpting work is pretty good. Yeah, like I said, I think it captures Leia's likeness perfectly. Like the strands of hair that they sculpted on her. See her hair tied in the back here. So for the rest of her outfit here, looks pretty good. The paint turned out nice. You have the bandolier here. Some of the ammo sculpted in on it. It is a separate accessory. Not sure if you can take it off though. I think you would have to cut that. She does have this backpack here. It's probably not a backpack. It looks more like a canisters of some sorts. That is removable. You have her tunic here, still plastic. Does have the cut in the front here. It's not too hindering of the hip articulation. You have her trousers and her boots. And for her articulation, it's pretty good. She does have the ball joint at the head there. At least I think it's a ball joint. It actually might be a hinge, yeah. You can see the hinge joint right there. A little bit different than usual, and that's probably because Leia has a much smaller head, so it's easier to accommodate with this way instead. But as you can see, pretty good range of motion. She has hinged shoulders, go about 90, Then hinge at the elbow. Probably goes about 45, 50 degrees. She does have a swivel wrist. Then a swivel waist, I think. Yeah. Then swivel hips. Then hinge knees and hinged ankles there. In terms of accessories, unfortunately the thermal detonator is not a separate accessory. It's just sculpted into her hand. Probably the biggest complaint a lot of people have with this action figure. It's never really bothered me too much over the years, but I think it would have been a good idea on Hasbro's part to include an alternative hand for her if they were insistent about sculpting this into her hand. And then having a spot on her belt where she could plug it in. Kind of similar to the Black Series 6-inch action figure here. You can see where that thermal detonator is. And for the rest of her accessories, of course, her helmet here. Some nice paint details on that. Is a little bit of a tight fit on her head, but it does fit securely. Does a good job of concealing her chin. You can barely tell. And that's the same thing for the Black Series action figure here. Kind of see the paint differences between the two. But they are pretty close. I would say on the TVC action figure they're a little more vibrant. But for this Leia, I usually have her displayed without the helmet on. Then she also has the skiff staff here, which I think is pretty much the same one as a lot of the other ones out there. It's all cast in the silver color. It is a little bit of a darker silver compared to the Black Series one here. And it does fit securely in her hand there. It's typically how I have Leia displayed. See the face sculpts between the two. This is the archive Leia. Now to compare the Black Series face. I am going to do an individual video for the Black Series action figure. It is different enough to warrant its own. But yeah, you can see the difference between the two. I'll let you decide on that one. But I think in this case, the face printing tech was a fast upgrade for Leia. But for the Black Series action figure here, I can treat her as like the real Boushh bounty hunter. Sometimes it just doesn't want to stay in place. I do have a video for the 6-inch action figure on the channel. I recommend checking that out. But I think that's all I can tell you about the Boushh Leia here. I would definitely recommend her for your collection. Another great way to get another bounty hunter in your collection. Like I said, you could just put the helmet on her, treat her as the Boushh bounty hunter. It's probably one of the, for me personally, I prefer Leia in the Boushh disguise as like one of my top 5 appearances for Leia. It's more of a action-oriented appearance for her, and I think it's really good. And I'm glad to have the various action figures of her in my collection. I used to own the Cycle Collection one as well, but unfortunately throughout the years ended up losing some of the accessories. In fact, the stand ended up breaking off in her foot. But I do hope to track that action figure down again at some point. See what the future brings. But a great action figure overall. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for playing more in the future. There's always more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support, and check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. And as always, thanks for watching.